Tenga baha utanga baha ne kilitari aguduri wali pechawu kyoya wali ila ashire chibide kuma kilitari pechane tumari ashira beshi yutana kilitari pechane ashire kudugada aguduri नहीं पहनाइए ऐसा क्यों क्या बात है कि किन्या किसी या के हुआ तो ना किन्या किसी या के तेरेंगा पहाड़ हमने फिलिपाई अत्याप पेशियन हुआ तो ना खाइदा माने चीन पेशियन ये माने से सही मैं खुद खाइदा माने सोची ना पहाड़ में पेशियन करेंगे सब लोग
Jhanic says, previous 2 days he has explained how to generate in your practice the training of morality and the training of concentration, which are the important sources through which you can produce active actions to have the overcoming power, various types of defilements which are easily arising in your life. There are defilements such as defilement of transgression, obsessive defilements, and the latent or dormant defilements. Those defilements have to be destroyed to gain real peace and happiness in your life. Without destroying them, without overcoming them, there won't be any chance to gain any kind of pleasurable, stable living in your life. So therefore there are various ways how to overcome them, how to suppress them, and how to destroy them. Through the training of morality, you can overcome the defilements of transgression. Through the concentration groups, which could be generated in your practice with your diligent effort, those concentration groups could easily overcome the defilements of obsessive defilements. Still there are dormant defilements hidden behind all the time without making known to you. those defilements are so necessary to be eradicated or to be destroyed. Therefore, you need to produce such mental active act through which you can overcome the last defilements and accomplish yourself the factors of wisdom. And when you accomplish them, there will be strong power in your mind to totally eradicate the dormant or latent defilement in your life. Sayadaw says, today he would like to try to explain how to develop the strongest power as the productive force to produce wisdom and accomplish the act to destroy the latent or dormant defilement through the practice of insight as well as through the attainments of the path and fusion knowledges.
Shumamu Shivatale Kara Niyabi Wuriya Sati Savari Machatai and you get Paneka Shiva Jotana. This is Edema Chain Art for it. Some things about it. Shiva Sama say, but for a ayo, yes, you didn't say it. She doesn't take out of you have mommy over it. You know, she says, you have mommy. Now, the little yellow, there are a car. Now, by I think I need a light out. Mari, I don't. Yankida, Ikida, Dagmaru, Kindaga did the wall in the power and the wall. She says that she will Yankida. She doesn't kill her. You know, the Baishadi, you know, Junkie said in the dinner. You know, Junkie said the Canadian Chipola, Tokyo, who is how this second. She don't that so yet. We were in a young as after that. A little Chinda came from Yanni Fiera. We had to be the Mali for a Malikana with the air in the Akon. That is a she found Yan Puna. I don't put a car. You in a penny, you did a penny. Nya Aria Gila, and Aria Sila, and bring up a Hana Sati. The Mali Tika Mariba on a kissing eye, who moved to a tell. But it is up a Hana Sati. Lydia Pida chain by chain on the Jasimbe. You are Jasimbe. The love is one she had a little feeling you. Pinya, Peyoga, say to you, Kilometer, Yoga, Yoga, Nipalita, Pinya,
Sayadaw says, during our serious practice, continuous practice, gradually the meditators develop their power of concentration groups as the effort, awareness, or the observing power, and the concentration. In the beginning, they may not have strong concentration group powers. They couldn't have accurate aiming, precise timing in their noting. They couldn't get the object clearly because of that lacking. Later on, as much as they try to have continuous effort, continuous observing power, continuous concentration, slowly and gradually they know how to aim towards the noting object and how to time to get the noting object when the object is really present at the present moment. So in this way, the yogis are there to develop the concentration groups. As Sayadaw has stated yesterday also, because of that possession of the all those concentrative factors, they can develop the aiming power and timing power to get the each and every object, to note clearly, to note simultaneously, to note concurrently and precisely. When the meditators will get that power, and that power is called the directing power, or pushing forward power towards the object. In another sense, it also could be said as the thought conception according to the Jhanic limbs. That Jhanic limb or the right thought will be there in your noting. And that right thought or the thought conception or the precise aiming and timing power creates the accurate noting in each and every moment. When the yogis could note in that way, they can clearly get the object, to see, to watch, to know, to get precise observance. When the yogis could note in that way, there arises understanding about the object and about the noting mind. Oh, this is this, that is that. This notable object is the physical phenomena as rising, and noting rising is the mental phenomena. So there are only these two phenomenal aspects, nothing more. At first, they will get the separate understanding of physicality and mentality, which is called in Pali Nama Rupa Paricheda Jnana, the knowledge of knowing discriminately the names and forms. After that, when the power of right timing and right aiming becomes stronger and stronger, your noting will be more and more accurate. Knowing also develops in your practice, so you can easily discriminate how the knowing and noting are connected each other. You can see clearly, because of this is happening, because of that is occurring. Cause and effect process could be understood clearly through that precise noting power. Again, if you develop forward your practice, not only you will know the cause and effect processes, you can see how those physical and mental objects which you are noting moment after moment, arising and dissolving, arising and dissolving, arising and dissolving. So you can see the nature of those physicality and mentality. They are not permanent things. They are impermanent things. That clarity you can reflect again and again. When such well exercised power will be there in your practice, wisdom develops in its degree. So you will get the power of wisdom to produce the strength through the wisdom active act, which accomplishes the destroying the latent defilement in the beginning through overcoming by opposite, later on overcoming by suppressive, and in the end you can even totally remove them. Which is called the overcoming by total destruction. So that power you will gain when you get the understanding factor. So Sayadaw says, when you can in that way overcome those defilements, even the latent defilements, a dormant defilement, through the overcoming by power of total destruction, the Payoga Nipadita would be used at that time to have active force as the wisdom to produce the real strength to disturb or to destroy the latent defilement.
Vipasana ma Santavoli Pawini Vipasana Shia ယောဂီစံနေတဲ့ခတ်တူဖြစ်နေတာအလုံးထင်ရှားပါတယ်။ဒီချိန်ကစတင်ပြီးတော့ထင်ရှားစွာပြုပါတယ်လို့ဆိုတော့သမထနာဉာဏ်ပိုင်းရောက်တဲ့အခါကျရင်ယောဂီစံနဲ့ခတ်တူကိုပြောရတယ်အလုံးထင်ရှားတယ်။အဲ့ဒီမတိုင်မီစီရဝတ္တုဖြစ်အောင်လို့ရှိတဲ့အခါယုံနာလေးပိုက်ချတဲ့အခါယုံနာကြောင့်ကျိုးဆက်တဲ့ဒီအခါကခိုင်တန်းတော့ဥပ္ပစရသမာဓိအဆင့်လောက်ပေါ့စီရဝတ္တုကတော့လူရဲ့ဥပ္ပစရသမာဓိအဆင့်လောက်နိုင်ရင်ကွဲသွားပြီဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ဥပ္ပစရသမာဓိကိုမြင်ရမှာဥပ္ပစရဆံပေါ့ကြောင့်ကျိုးကြီးဆက်ဆက်ပြီးတော့တည်လာပြီဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ဒီဥပ္ပစရဆံတော်တော်လေးမြင်ကြတာနောက်ယုံနာလေးကိုမျက်စိရဲ့သဘောပဲပြီးရှင်းရတယ်သိနေတယ်စီသုံးသက်တယ်။သမထဉာဏ်မှာရောက်တဲ့အခါကျတော့လောကီပထမစာနဲ့ခက်ပြီးပါတယ်လို့ဒီကြရည်ဖြစ်နေတာ။ယောဂီပရိသမ်းရောက်ပြီးတော့ဒီဖြစ်တယ်နော်။
Shada says, in Vipassana practice also, you can experience the similar type of experiences when you are doing tranquility meditation to obtain various jhanic stages. Similar type of jhanic factors could be experienced in Vipassana practice also. Sadhu says, when you will get the knowledge through which you can separate or discriminate the physicality and mentality clearly, you can experience the rough type of or immature type of excessive concentration or neighborhood concentration, which is just beginning to arise. So that is why Sadhu says immature neighborhood concentration or the excessive concentration. When you reach to the knowledge of knowing cause and effect process, in that stage you will get little more matured excessive concentration or neighborhood concentration. But when you reach to the knowledge of comprehension or the knowledge of reflection of impermanent and so forth natures, then the excessive concentration could be fully developed. Sadhu is mentioning all these things because he would like to show how you can possess jhanic factors even though when you are practicing vipassana meditation. And Sadhu would like to give little more experience about these aspects today. So he says there are jhanic factors even in vipassana practice, similar to the jhanic factors when you do the practice of tranquility meditation or the samatha bhavana.
အတ္တကသာယောဂီပုဂ္ဂိုလ်မှာတော့တိုင်ပြီးတော့ရှုနေခြင်းဘာဝိကအောက်ကိုပြင်ဖို့ပေါ့ဒီပေါင်းလိုက်ပြင်လိုက်ရှုမှတ်တဲ့စိတ်နဲ့တဲ့သွားအောင်ဆိုပြီးတော့အမြဲမပြတ်ပေါ့ဒီချိန်ရွယ်ပြီးတော့ပြရတယ်ဒီချိန်ရွယ်ပြီးတဲ့သဘောလေးဟာဒီကျက်ပဲသို့တော့စံအင်္ဂါတော့တည်ပြီးတော့စံသဘောတော့တည်ပြီးတော့မမြုပ်သေးဘူးပေါ့ဒီဘာဖြစ်လဲဆိုတော့ချိန်သားကိုက်မှမကိုက်သေးဘူးချိန်သားကိုက်အောင်ဆိုတော့အလေးချိန်လုပ်နေတာအဲ့ဒါကစပြီးတော့သူ့တဲ့ကြီးစပြီးပါတယ်ချိန်သားကိုက်ပြီးအတုသာတော့ချိန်သားမကိုက်တာနဲ့ကိုက်တာနဲ့ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်မကိုက်တာလည်းမရပါဘူးဒီမှာလွတ်နေတာလည်းမရတော့ကံကိုအာရုံဒီစိတ်ကြီးရောက်နေတာပြီးတော့ဒီရတဲ့မှာလည်းပဲသောတာကြီးဖြစ်နေတာပေါ့သမဏဝိတ္တဝိလောဝိတ္တဒီကလည်းဖြစ်နေတာပါစိတ်ကြီးချိန်သားလွဲပြီးတော့ပေါ့ဒီကိုအာရုံဟောင်းနေကြပြန်ရောက်နေတယ်ဖြစ်တတ်ပါတယ်ဒီကချိန်သားကြိုက်ပြီးတော့ရှုလိုက်အာရုံကိုရောက်လိုက်ပေါ့ချိန်သားကြိုက်လို့မကြိုက်ဘူးဆိုရင်မကြိုက်ဘူးပြန်များတယ်နောက်တော့အနေနဲ့ကအရှုံးပေးတဲ့စိတ်နဲ့ချိန်သားကြိုက်အောင်လုပ်လို့ပြီးတဲ့အခါကျတော့နည်းနည်းလေးတက်တယ်ချိန်လေးတက်တာပုံလာလေးနဲ့ဆက်လာတက်ပါပညာလေးနဲ့ဆက်လာတက်ပါခြားခြားကိုရဲ့ပုံလာလေးနဲ့ချိန်သားကြိုက်တယ်တက်အဲ့လိုတက်သွားပြီဆိုလို့ရှိရင်တက်သွားတဲ့အာယုံနဲ့ရှိသည့်ရဲ့စိတ်နဲ့ပေါ့လေပုတ်တိုက်တဲ့ကဲဖြစ်သွားလူမစနာတော့ဘောပေါ့ဒီစရာလေးနဲ့ဖြစ်သွားတယ်အဲ့ဒါသာလည်းသူတို့ပြီးတာလေးပေါ့ထိပါပုတ်တိုက်တဲ့ကဲဖြစ်သွားတယ်ချိန်ကျက်သွားလို့ရှိရင်ထိပါပုတ်တိုက်တဲ့ကဲဖြစ်သွားတယ်ချိန်ရပေးလိုက်အာယုံနဲ့ဒီစိတ်နဲ့ပုတ်တိုက်တဲ့ကဲထိပါပုတ်တိုက်တဲ့ကဲဖြစ်လိုက်အချိန်မှတော်တော်များလာပြီဆိုလို့ရှိရင်အဝိဇ္ဇာစိုက်တဲ့ဒီလိုနာတရားလေးစိတ်ဓာတ်နဲ့ပြေးပြီးစီကြပါတော့ခါရကတမလေးလောက်ခါရကတမလေးလောက်တော့မြင်တော့ဒီမင်းလောက်စက်ကဝင်နေတာစီကြတော့စီကြတော့တဲ့ခါကျတော့စီပြီးကြီးတယ်တဲ့ခါကျတော့ဒီလိုမျိုးကြီးထားတယ်ဒီစားဖြစ်တယ်ခါရကလည်းကြာခဏတော့ဖြင်းနေဒီလိုမျိုးကြီးထားဒီစားလာအဲ့ဒီကကျတော့စိတ်ကလေးကလည်းရွှင်လာတယ်ရွှင်လန်းချမ်းသာတဲ့ဘောကြီးစိတ်ကလည်းဖြစ်တယ်ခဏိကသမားလေးတွေရလာတော့ဖြစ်တော့ဒီကိစ္စကခေါ်တဲ့ဆိုင်ရာလေးကိုအရာစပြီးတော့နည်းနည်းလေးမပြည့်ဖို့ပေါ်လာတာဒါပေချာရှိတဲ့ယောဂီတွေဟာအဲဒီလိုမျိုးလည်းသိချတာ
Sada says the beginners yogis at first when they are trying to note the rising and falling in their sitting meditation, they are trying to get the primary object clearly, rising as rising and falling as falling, with careful noting, trying to direct their mind to get the object. But in the beginning, few times they may get success in doing so. Most of the time they miss the object to get accurately. The focusing mind towards the object which you try to produce in your practice, directing to the object that is the beginning point of the first Jhanic factor, Vitakka, or the thought conception. But lack of proper practice, proper exercise, you cannot have that thought conception precisely in the beginning. But there is the starting point of it. When you try again and again, gradually it develops. Before that, you might have a lot of disturbances, hindrances, impediments arising different way, sometimes in the form of craving, sometimes in the form of attachment, sometimes in the form of sensuous pleasures, sometimes even they may arise as the form of anger, form of hatred, form of distress, form of disappointment, form of dissatisfaction. So that there are so many forms of those hindrances. Because of those various types of hindrances, the Jhanic first factor, Vitakka, or the thought conception, couldn't work properly in your practice. But as you try to do it again and again, it will start to appear. Sometimes you will get the rising object very clearly, the falling object very precisely. There is the Jhanic first factor involving in it at a time, because you are driving the hindrances, pushing forward your mind to get the object. So that is why sometimes you get the object clearly, sometimes you miss it. The continuous practice helps you to develop that first thought conception, removing the defilements or the hindrances, and trying to get the object without missing them. So in this way, the Vitakka, or the thought conception, first Jhanic factor, comes forward in your practice. When that Vitakka power or the thought conception develops, it becomes strong. Even at that time you can see that when you are noting the rising and falling, your mind is trying to rub something on the object. If you have real attention in your practice, you can experience all these things. You are trying to rub the object, to polish it, to get clearly. Because some kind of direct friction with the object will be there in your mind. So therefore you touch the object. That means you get the object and you follow the object as you are rubbing the object with your mind. That is the second jhanic factor, which is called vichara, or the discursive thinking. It has got the characteristics to rub something again and again, to polish it, to make it easy. So in that way, the second jhanic factor also follows in your practice when your exercise becomes more and more balanced. Later on, few days after, through your precise effort, precise observing powers, that second factor also becomes quite obvious in your practice, because now you can observe the object most of the time without missing them. Noting power becomes strong, and you will get the clarity in your noting. So the effort or the enthusiasm rises there. You get interest in noting. Because of that interesting mind, so you work very hard to get the object, and you don't miss the object. Later on, when the second jhanic factor develops, it becomes very easy to get the object in each and every noting, although some of them are missing. But most of the time you can get the object quite obviously. So, as I have I have used the word enthusiasm arises in your mind, that means some kind of rapture feeling will be there. Piti arises, that is the third jhanic factor. You get some kind of enjoyment in noting the rising and falling and other objects. So rapture also arises slowly and slowly. And when rapture will be there, not only rapture will be there, some feeling of enjoyment will be there. So you can see, now you want to keep the noting more and more precisely. And as much as you pay attention to get the object more precisely, and you get the object easily also, then the feeling will arise. This is really pleasurable, enjoyable. So joyous feeling will be there. That is the fourth factor of the jhanic practice. And through that enjoyment, now you don't want to miss any object. You try to get the object deep down. So your wandering mind tries to stop now. Your mind involves with the object right through in each and every noting. So there will be some kind of concentration appearing in your practice. That is the fifth factor of the jhanic practice. And momentarily you are getting each and every object while you are noting. So the Khanika Samadhi, which is called in Vipassana practice, inside practice, that Khanika Samadhi will be there. You don't miss each and every object. Whenever you try to note, the object is there, and your mind is stay with the object momentarily. So that Khanika Samadhi develops as the fifth factor of the Jhanica practice. So in this way, in your practice, those Jhanica factors are involving.
Manara body, Obugas, or I will Melosara body. Telling your shoe that Ubu I will never see Chinda to Kagana. Chinda Federal, Ubu, I will keep up with it. Only Malay, tongue and thing that looks like I didn't do that. Drogo Titi brought the volley and the Daniel things that but only looked at the either the food. In a Malay, she not a good for it. Your you shall not have it. Put it again, you will put it again, you tell out Saja for your name, for Susan said, San the one in the shoe. She will put it in the sugar. I will eat it to the quality father. Every quality father, in the Nabara. You know, the Mama I am maybe I am beautiful, I come again. The woman in the village was second. One name is showing me the China. That is here is I am beautiful, secretary. Showing me the China. But now you don't know what it is about. You will say that it's a cat on it. You get it for it to Maria. There are two movies. Who was a lot of Mario, who was a somewhat Akon, and they went up to the Akon. They are the
And when your practice is continuously improving, and the Jhanica factors also coming forward in your practice clearly, then while you are noting the rising as rising, you not just only see the movement of rising, there are strong involvement of the second Jhanica factor, the discursive thinking. So therefore, at a time you can see in the rising process some kind of tension, some kind of steepness, some kind of vibration, some kind of pressure, some kind of movement. So the natures also come forward in your noting. You are not just only seeing the movement of the abdomen now, you are getting real friction to see the nature of the physical phenomena as rising. That is how you can see the development of those Jhanica factors gradually. And you can see that phenomenal aspects because your aiming and timing is getting more and more phenomena in your noting. While you are noting the falling object, at the time also you can see how easily the movement falls down, and at first there was tension, now the tension is lessening and easily falling down. So you can see the movement slowly getting easier. So you can see the light pressure during the falling noting, and when you are noting the rising, there are rising pressure in that way. So you can see the phenomenal aspects also because of the involvement of the second Jhanic factor in your practice. And when you see clearly, oh, in rising, before I just get the movement of the abdomen, only the belly is rising up, falling down. Now not only the belly is moving, but now there are something to see. Something I can see now. So the encouragement in your practice develops. And that development also depends on your feeling, how you feel. When you see new things, rapture immediately comes in your mind. And when you feel yourself clearly, happiness comes easily. So in that way, in your practice, there are Jhanic factors developing gradually. And when you can see the differentiation between physical phenomenon and the mental phenomenon, so your excessive concentration is improving. Because of that improvement, your mind stay more and more closely with the object to see clearly the objects. So Sayadaw says that excessive concentration reaches to the middle stage at that time when you see clearly the physical and mental phenomena in your noting.
အဲ့ဒီအုပ်စုမှာတော့တဏိကသမာဓိကအဓိကပါပဲပြီးတော့ဒီကျိုးကျတော့ပိဋိကုကဧကဇရာခေါ်တဲ့စာရဏ၅ပါးပါနေတဲ့ခုနယုံနာပိုက်ချပြီးဉာဏ်လေးဟာတော့သူ့ကိုတိုက်ထုတ်လိုက်ရတယ်လို့ဆိုတော့ယုံနာဒီပေါ်မှာယုံနာဒီပေါ်စေမှာပေါ်လို့ပေါ်စေမှာအများဆုံးလိုက်ပြီးတော့ကြည့်အောင်လို့မရှိနိုင်ဘူးဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ဒီရှိနေအားလုံးပုဂ္ဂိုလ်တ attva နောက်ပြီးကြာမင်းပါဆိုရင်အစွဲဝင်လာတယ်အသေးစိတ်ပေါ်လာတယ်ဒီဘောမှာတိတိကျကျမပြီးဘူးဆိုလို့ရှိရင်အဲ့ဒီဆွဲလာတာရှိတယ်ဒီဘောမှာတိတိကျကျတိလိုက်တာလည်းအဲ့ဒီဆွဲလာတာတက်တယ်ဒီသိစိတ်တက်တယ်အဲ့ဒီသိစိတ်ကိုဒီမှာရုပ်နာပိတ်စားပြီးအတူတူတိုက်ထုတ်လိုက်အဲ့ဒီခိုက်တာမှာဆိုရင်အဲ့ဒီညာလေးကတရေကပါအနေနဲ့ပေါ့ချိန်ပိုင်းပေါ့အသက်ရှင်လိုက်အဲ့ဒီညာလေးပွင့်နေတဲ့ခိုက်တာမှာချိန်နဲ့အသက်ရှင်လိုက်ဒီနေ့ကလူကြီးတွေဒါပေါ့အဲ့ဒါကနောက်ဘက်ပြစီတယ်နဲ့အသက်ရှင်တယ်ဒီတော့အချိန်လေးရှင်းဖို့ကတော့သတ္တပတ္တိနဲ့ဖြစ်တဲ့ခိုက်တာကိုရှင်းတယ်ရှင်းတယ်အချိန်လေးကျဒီခိုက်တာမှာလည်းအသက်ရှင်တယ်
Sayadaw says, when your noting is really good enough, having all those Jhanic factors clearly in your practice, and you can know separately physical and mental phenomena, the knowledge arises as the discriminating power of physicality and mentality. During that moment, you are enabled to drive away some defilements, powerful defilements, especially the wrong thought. Before, when you couldn't note rising and falling and other arising objects clearly, now and then the wrong thought will be there that the knowable objects also I, and that knowable object also belongs to me, so it is mine, and the noting mind also I, because at the time you are thinking I am noting, so the I is there as your mind, as your own mind. So my mind, I am the mind, is there. But when you clearly see the phenomenal aspects only as the mind and matter clearly, so the I notion will disappear. Although it is momentary, but during that noting moment you are enabled to drive away or destroy totally, momentarily, to that wrong view. And not only that, before you may have some kind of either thought that all these physical and mental phenomena is overwhelmed by something else. So there is the being, there is the self, there is the soul, there is the man, there is the woman, there is he, there is she. So all these wrong thoughts, superficial thoughts might be there. But in precise noting,